Hello YouTube. Today I'll be making a video asking and answering the question of if John 1:1 in particular is attempting to express that the Logos is one and the same with the God. Now, in order for me to do this, I would like to stay within the prologue, at least, of the Gospel of John, within the first 18 verses. To begin with, let's start off with the primary verse in question, John 1:1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. To begin with, John 1:1 talks about the beginning, or actually prior to the creation of anything. It is talking about a time period prior to anything being created or made. John 1:1 is very clear in our utilizing, at least in the Greek language, the definite article in front of the term logos, or word. In doing such, it has been argued by means of the context that this seems to be a distinctive term that distinguishes the logos' actions from the God. Quite often, people misunderstand because of the third clause of the first verse of John 1. The third clause is, and the Word was God. Ultimately, we need to remember what comes in the second clause as well. And the Word was with God. In light of the second portion of the first verse, the Word was with God, we find out that there's also a clear distinction. The Word is with God. It's not saying the Word is the God. And the best way to understand that would be by means of understanding the Greek term proston theon, alagos proston theon, kai alagos proston theon, and the Word was with God. Pros is a term of intimate relationship. Relationship is often held or conceptually understood within the actions of two different persons or people. Persons have relationships by which they can be shoulder to shoulder, face to face, or hand to hand. So in this nature of withness, it seems to be, as I believe Thayer's lexicon articulates, a withness of a very intimate relationship, or face-to-face withness. Face-to-face means that they don't share the same face. So again, this will be an aspect of John 1:1 which shows a distinction between the Logos and God. And the third clause again, and the Word was God. In Greek, it looks a little different, but that's mainly because of the construction. In Greek, it essentially reads word for word, and I'm going to translate it, and God, what God was, the Word was, or and God was the Word. In this statement, we find a qualitative assessment of the nature of the Logos. So in this description, we find that there's a distinction and yet similar identifiable aspect. A similar identifiable aspect would be the nature, arguably, of the Logos. This would be why, for example, in the NET, the New English Translation, you find the last clause translated in a slightly different way than what most translators translate it as, whereas it has been traditionally translated into English. Nonetheless, the concept is that what the Word, and again, it's the definite article is fixed with the Logos throughout this context, in a sense. Now, yes, we did just see a definite article with ton theon, proston theon, but halagos and tantheon, there's definite articles in front of both, which, again, from a Trinitarian's perspective, and I am a Trinitarian, would show a distinction in person. So, in short, we find this fuller elaborated throughout the following passages, like verses 14, where the Word becomes flesh. And we beheld His glory, that only begotten of the Father, only uniquely of the Father. And He has purely exegeted Him. He makes Him known. He completely articulates His essence. That's John 18. Now, in this conception of Judaism and monotheism, the author of the Gospel of John seems to make clear that the nature of the Word, which became flesh, remained the same. But the taking on of flesh is a little different than remaining fully God. But nonetheless, the context, I would argue, does show a clear distinction between Logos and God, in light of John 1 through 1:18, 1:1 through 1:18. Thank you guys very much. Any questions, please be free to leave them. Thank you for watching this video and enjoy. Blessings.